Hey, what's up, everybody? And welcome to 3131. And it is day 9 of 31 and 31. And I'm in a much different place than I normally am because I am in a hotel room, as you can possibly see, because I'm heading to Aftershock in Sacramento tomorrow. So that's everything that's going to start. And for today's movie that I have seen, it is The Platform 2. Now, I already said that I was going to see this movie, so it definitely is not much of a surprise that's there. And it's not as good as the first one, like, at all. In fact, I'm like thoroughly confused at this movie, 100%. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how they did what they did, right? And so, you've seen The Platform, and The Platform 2 is a prequel, and it's kind of how everything goes to shit when our main character from The Platform gets into the space, right? And there's a couple things, like, I'm not going to try to spoil anything, period. There is a returning character in this movie, which I was very surprised about. So we get like a little bit of his backstory. Well, not necessarily backstory, stuff that he talked about in the first movie. We actually get to kind of see it in this movie. But it's just, it moves too fast for what it does, right? Like, the draw of the original Platform was that it was really like a kind of a different idea, and everything just kind of had you guessing on where everything was going to go in the movie. And so, since you knew the basic forms of this movie, it just felt like things were moving just so quickly into new stuff they're doing. Like, the basis of a lot of this movie is that, one, it's kind of when it starts, but not necessarily when it starts. And two, that we're dealing with two separate groups of people that are in the place, right? Because here they talk about, like, what's your favorite food? That's how the movie begins. And everybody's that's going into the place is giving what their favorite meals are. And there's they create like a rule of law that you only eat what's yours. Whereas compared to like within the first movie, where you had, them, just a bunch of people above were just eating to eat, and they would leave the people on the bottom absolutely nothing. Where this, they actually kind of created like rules and everything like that for it. So it was interesting in that regard that they do it, and that you have these people where they call like the loyalists and the barbarians. And I'm not sure if exactly translate to it, but that's what they had in the movie. And so, at least in the subtitles, I should say. And so it's about the people that are trying to keep the law and order with everything that's going on there, and those that are kind of breaking it because they feel like, no, I'm hungry and I should be able to eat something else. And then it just kind of like weirdly devolves. Like, there's this thing, a shot in the beginning of the movie where there's a bunch of kids that are in like a pyramid, and then that's symbolism for something, but I could never really quite figure out exactly what the symbolism was. Like, this movie, I feel like I need to watch one of those people that like went really in depth, tooth and nail, and is going to tell me everything that I just completely missed from this movie. Because honestly, a lot of it to me just doesn't make very much sense. Feels like it's gorier, but at the same time, it's a lot of CGI gore. And that kind of takes away from it a lot for me. And there were a couple of times where I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that. Oh, and if you like wiener, you're going to get some wiener in this movie. So, again, it's not that terrible, but it's just not good. Like, the interesting stuff in this movie is few and far between. It's just, some of the stuff is just not interesting enough to really make this movie like pop for me, right? And I think the main character of this movie is not very interesting at all. And there is a tie to the second movie with the main character in this movie that I think is there, but it could be something completely different. I don't really know. And I really wanted this movie to be better than it was. And it was just, like I said, it's not terrible bad, but it's not good. It's just, it has its fun moments in it, and when it does do interesting things, it's so quick. There's a lot in the beginning, especially with the two people that start out as cellmates, our main character and this really fat guy, who I'm not even going to try to remember what the names are for the whole thing. But like, there was a weird dichotomy that was going on between them that I was really enjoying, and then it's just like over. And it seems like when something happens with him, it just feels like it's so quick and rushed. But the movie itself is like an hour and 50 minutes, around 40 something minutes long, where it feels like it has enough time to do focus more on some of the interesting things where it just seems to jump a lot. And that's really where I had issues with it. So it's on Netflix if you really want to watch it. It's interesting sci-fi horror, but it's a lot more thriller type of horror than psychological horror like the first one was, right? And the sci-fi just comes from the setting, to be honest with you. And without the mystery of the setting that's there and trying to figure out what's going on, there really isn't anything else going for this movie than kind of like shock value. So, all right, well, that's it for this episode. And we'll see you tomorrow night on another one of these 31 and 31s while I'm here in lovely Sacramento, California, after I have been beat to shit. So, you guys take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.